Today, you'll probably make a small financial decision. Maybe you'll buy a coffee. Maybe you'll postpone investing for another month. Maybe you'll tell yourself you'll start next year when you have more money, more knowledge, or more confidence. It doesn't seem like a big deal. After all, it's just one decision. But here's the strange thing. Some of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make don't feel important when you're making them. Imagine someone gives you a single seed. It's tiny, almost insignificant. You could easily ignore it. But if you plant it and give it enough time, that seed can become a tree. That tree produces more seeds. Those seeds become more trees. And eventually, from one small beginning, an entire forest emerges. That's exactly how compound interest works. Most people think wealth is built through huge salaries, lucky breaks, or finding the next big investment. But history tells a different story. The greatest fortunes are often built through something far less exciting: time. And that's why compound interest is one of the most powerful forces in finance. At first, it looks unimpressive, painfully unimpressive, so slow that many people give up before they ever see results. And that's where the trap begins, because your brain isn't designed to understand exponential growth. Human beings naturally think in straight lines. If something grows by 10 today, we expect it to grow by another 10 tomorrow. It's intuitive, it's simple, but reality doesn't always work that way. In the 1970s, psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky discovered that people often rely on mental shortcuts when making decisions about the future. Those shortcuts help us navigate daily life, but they can also lead us to underestimate long-term outcomes. Compound interest is one of the best examples. When you invest money and earn a return, next year you don't earn returns only on your original investment. You also earn returns on the gains you've already made. Then those gains generate their own gains. And the cycle repeats, year after year. The effect seems small at first, but over time it becomes enormous. That's the difference between linear growth and exponential growth. One moves steadily, the other accelerates. Imagine two investors. Both invest the same amount every month. Both earn the same average return. The only difference is that one starts 10 years earlier. Most people assume the gap between them can't be that large. After all, it's only 10 years. But those early years are incredibly valuable, not because of the money invested, because of the time available for compounding. Time is the secret ingredient. Not genius, not perfect stock picks, not predicting the market. Time. And few people demonstrate this better than Warren Buffett. When people look at Buffett's fortune, they often focus on his investment skill. And yes, he's one of the greatest investors in history. But another reason for his wealth is much simpler. He started investing young, and he stayed invested for decades. That's a powerful combination. A good strategy plus a very long time horizon. The longer compounding works, the more dramatic the results become. Researcher Jeremy Siegel studied stock market performance over long periods and found that patient investors were consistently rewarded over extended time frames. Not every year, not every decade, but over the long run. And that creates an interesting paradox. Everyone wants results quickly, but wealth is often built slowly. In a world obsessed with speed, investing rewards patience. That's why compound interest feels so counterintuitive. News focuses on today. Social media focuses on this week. Most conversations focus on the next opportunity. But compounding operates on a completely different timeline. Years, sometimes decades. Imagine a snowball rolling down a hill. At first it barely changes, then it becomes slightly larger, then larger still. Eventually it starts collecting so much snow that its growth becomes obvious. By the time it reaches the bottom, it looks nothing like it did at the top. Investing often works the same way. The challenge is that most people only notice the snowball after it has already become huge. They don't see the years of slow growth that came before. And because humans naturally prefer immediate rewards, many investors abandon the process too early. Behavioral economist Richard Thaler spent years studying this tendency. People consistently choose smaller rewards now over larger rewards later. We want results immediately. The market rewards patience. And that's where the conflict begins. You've probably seen it before. Someone starts investing, they're excited, they contribute regularly, then the market falls, their portfolio turns red. Fear replaces excitement, and they quit. Not because the strategy was wrong, but because the rewards weren't immediate. That's why compound interest rewards endurance. It rewards the people who stay long enough to reach the interesting part of the curve. Because the early years are usually boring. Growth seems modest. Progress feels slow. Motivation gets tested. But beneath the surface, something important is happening. The foundation is being built. Then accumulation begins. Then acceleration. And eventually, results that once seemed impossible start to look inevitable. There's a famous story about the inventor of chess. According to the legend, he asked a king for a simple reward: 1 grain of rice on the first square of a chessboard, 2 grains on the second, 4 on the third, and a doubling on every square after that. The king agreed. The request seemed tiny, but it wasn't. By the time they reached the final squares, the amount of rice had become astronomical. That's the power of exponential growth. It doesn't impress you at the beginning, it shocks you at the end. Now imagine that every dollar you invest is another grain placed on that chessboard. Suddenly, the idea becomes much easier to understand. This is why starting early matters so much. Not because you need to be perfect, but because time amplifies almost everything. Small contributions become meaningful wealth. Small differences become massive gaps. Small habits become life-changing outcomes. And there's one more important lesson. Compound interest works in both directions. Investments use it to build wealth. Debt uses it to build burdens. The same mathematical force that helps an investor grow richer can make a borrower fall deeper into debt. Mathematics doesn't care which direction you choose, it simply amplifies the path you're already on. That's why every year matters. Every contribution matters. Every decision to continue matters. Each year gives your money another opportunity to grow, another opportunity to compound, another opportunity to work on your behalf. That's also why experienced investors talk so much about discipline. Not because discipline sounds impressive, but because discipline keeps you in the game. And time is the engine that powers everything. So here's a simple question. Are you trying to get rich quickly, or are you trying to build lasting wealth? Those goals sound similar, but they lead to completely different behaviors. One chases shortcuts, the other embraces time. One focuses on immediate rewards, the other focuses on long-term outcomes. History is filled with investors who quit just before the results arrived. Markets rise and fall, crises come and go. Fear alternates with optimism. But throughout all of it, compound interest keeps working. Quietly, patiently, in the background. It doesn't need attention. It doesn't need headlines. It only needs time. And perhaps that's what makes it so powerful. It doesn't require genius. It doesn't require perfect predictions. It doesn't require being right every month. It only requires patience and consistency. Simple, but not easy, because you'll be tested. You'll see people who appear to get rich overnight. You'll see frightening headlines. You'll go through periods where progress feels invisible. And during those moments, the real question appears. Do you trust the process, or do you only trust immediate results? The investors who understand compound interest begin to see time differently. A year is no longer just a year, it's another building block, another opportunity, another step toward a future version of themselves. And after enough time passes, something remarkable happens. You look back and realize that the transformation didn't come from one massive decision. It came from hundreds of small ones. The decision to start, the decision to continue, the decision to stay patient, the decision to let time do what it does best: multiply, amplify, transform a little into a lot. And that brings us back to the small financial decision you'll probably make today. Maybe it's only a few dollars invested. Maybe it's the decision to begin. Maybe it's simply the decision not to quit. It doesn't seem important. But that's exactly the point, because some of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make don't look important when you make them. If you found this video valuable, subscribe for more content on investing, wealth building, and financial freedom. Because understanding how money works can change your future far more than chasing the next hot stock ever will. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.